All right, so now we're going to talk about some of the basic icons that you're going to see present on your screen throughout the time that you participate in NMU's virtual campus. So on the lower right-hand portion of your screen here, you're going to see a rectangle with a microphone and camera icon. And this basically is just it's displaying what your camera is showing. So it basically shows your own picture that's being broadcast to everybody else when you interact with each other. The microphone icon here is red and slashed out, specifically just because I have it turned off so I can record, this presentation. You click it once though, and it will turn on. You click it again, and it will turn back off. The same can be said for the camera icon. All right, so moving from right to left, we're going to see this bar here on the lower center portion of our screen. And the first thing you may notice is this little character icon here. And this is a pretty helpful menu because this allows you to essentially customize the way that your character looks. Now you can customize your name. In this space, I am known as Frosty. In other spaces, I am known by other names. You can also customize your avatar, and you can also customize the clothing that they are wearing. And the whole idea of this is to basically get it so that your avatar reflects a little bit of who you are. Any changes you make, all you got to do is hit save and your character will update. Moving over, we have this status bar here that displays your name and the fact that you're online. Clicking on this will open up another useful menu. This will allow you to update your status. So maybe you are away, you might want to put that in your status. But you can also do a lot of other things in this menu. We're going to skip over user and video preferences just because I'm going to cover that when I talk about this settings icon over here, because basically they're the same button. The first thing I want to talk about though is turning on quiet mode. And so I click turn on quiet mode, and this allows me to block out background noise. And so when you think about it, it makes sense. When you're in a congested area with a lot of foot traffic, and you're trying to have a conversation with someone, it can actually get a little bit hectic because you have all of these other conversations going about, with other people passing by, going every which way, just like you would expect in like a busy city street. So turning on quiet mode actually blocks out all of that background noise while allowing you to speak with the people that you are directly next to. So I'm going to turn off quiet mode now. And the next one that I want to cover is reset position. And so this is actually pretty helpful. We're navigating in a pretty new virtual space, and it's pretty easy to get turned around, and that can be kind of frustrating, no doubt. So say I'm turned around right now and I'm pretty lost, and I don't know how to get back to where I need to be or where I want to be, for instance. All I have to do is click on this menu right here. It'll open up this other menu, and you can basically click reset position and it'll take you back to your spawn location. So that's a nice little trick for you in the event that you get turned around. So going back to the menu, the last part is sign out. And that's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go too much into that. I'm not going to do it right now either because I still have a little bit more I want to go over. So yeah, to the right of that, you're going to see this icon here. This is your mini map. So clicking on this is actually very helpful because it gives you a snapshot of the entire room. And this can be very helpful for you as you navigate because you may get a little bit lost, but nonetheless, you can still use this map to find your way around. Additionally, we also have maps located actually here and here. And simply to interact with any of these maps, all you got to do is press X, and it'll pull up the map of the room. And this holds true for basically any other object that you want to interact with. All you have to do is press X. Moving from right to left, you will see this emoticon bar. And basically what these do is it allows you to express yourself non-verbally. All right, so moving from right to left, we're going to find ourselves at this sidebar here. And the first thing I want to cover is the participants button. So clicking on this will ultimately open up a menu that displays anybody who is in NMU's virtual campus at any given point in time. Not only does it do that, it allows you to actually search for a given person. So when the space is opened up and there are a lot of people, during the event itself, searching for people can actually be pretty helpful to, locate people that you want to watch present. Additionally, you can also invite other people to participate in the space by clicking the invite button, giving or copying the link, and then distributing that link to other people. Additionally, you can actually also click on any given person's name that you want to interact with. So for instance, I want to click on the director of McNair Scholars, Hui. I'll click on her name here in this menu, and it will give you the option to either A, send them a friend request. I've already sent one to her. It will also give you the option to send them a direct message. More so, and this is where it gets really interesting, this is a gigantic space, admittedly. So it is easy to get lost, but even more so, it's difficult to track people down. But don't you worry, because if you click locate on map, this will basically give you a trail that allows you to basically navigate towards the person that you want to get close and interact with. But even more so, say I hit stop locate and I go back to this menu here. Say I don't want to mash all those arrow keys. Maybe I'm just feeling a little bit lazy. Maybe my fingers are tired. Or, maybe we're in a very large group and we all want to follow the same person. This is really nice because if you hit follow, your computer will automatically take your character to the person that you are trying to follow without you necessarily having to mash like any buttons or arrow keys. And so that's actually a very helpful feature. And then the Spotlight tab is pretty helpful because by clicking on this, you will essentially allow the other person's video to be pinned to the screen no matter where you actually are on the map. So say I want to watch somebody else's presentation, but I still want to go around and explore. You can do that by giving them the Spotlight. And so that pretty much covers it for the Participants tab. Now moving on, we go to the Chat tab. And so the Chat tab allows you to send messages. Now this is pretty interesting because you can ultimately send it to either everybody in the entire space. You could also send it to only those who are in your near vicinity. So typically that would just be like the room that you're in. Or you can send it, again, direct message. The calendar icon, we're not necessarily going to be using that all too much, I don't think. Specifically just because it's a little bit hard to get it to integrate with the Google calendars that we're currently using. Moving on, you see this hammer here. This is for building. This is for developers only. So for most participants, pretty much all participants, you're not going to have this icon. However, getting back to the settings icon like I promised earlier. So moving on to the settings icon as promised, clicking this will open up another menu. Now you won't see this space icon here because that's just for developers such as myself. You'll only see this user icon. And underneath that you can see it gives you an option to change your nickname. This is just another way for you to be able to change your name in NMU's virtual campus. Below that you'll see the option to switch inputs. And really what this means is this allows you to switch what camera you're using, what microphone you're using, or what speaker system you're using. Some people, they have multiple web cameras, multiple microphones and speakers. They may want to use the ones that capture their good side. So this is where you do that. Now, custom map, sound volume, and use smooth movement. I'm not going to talk about those particularly just because I don't really see how we would be using them in this particular event. So pay no mind to it. You can play with it as you see fit. but it won't really make that much of a difference for you. The next one I do want to talk about though is auto idle muting. And this is very nice because ultimately it allows you to have your video and your microphone automatically muted and turned off essentially when you're away from the gather town for a given amount of time. That way, no background audio or video is projected or displayed during this event. Um, it's just a really helpful feature, to be mindful of the other people who are actually using the space. Use HD video quality. This is basically just another option for you to, turn it on and it'll try to get the most out of your camera. But just be aware that this may also come at the expense of good internet connection, uh, and even so, more so is your device's battery. And then beta features, we have this turned off specifically just because we're not going to be testing out any of their newer features at this particular time, just because that would throw sort of a curveball at us. So yeah, that's the menu in a nutshell for your settings. You also have the option to respawn, and clicking that is essentially the same thing as reset position. And then again, another option for you to sign out.